Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we get things situated. I think you'll let us know that you can hear us now. Generally, you're pretty good about that. Watching those comments for that. As you know, I am Bex, Commissioner of the National Simulation Football League, and we are gathered tonight to celebrate our best and brightest of the season 22. Ooh, I can hear myself. I need to mute YouTube. Cool. Well, that's good. At least I know that the stream is on and I can hear myself, so that means you can hear me as well. Yes, as I said, I am Bex, leader of this motley crew, and I will let my fellow co-hosts introduce themselves as well.
I guess I'll go first. I'm my Stegosaurus. I'm the co-GM of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and I play for the Austin Copperheads.
I'm Stoop. I was the co for Portland in season 22, and going forward, I'm the co for Philly, and I play for Philly.
And I'm JPack. I am a player in this league, literally just a hexagon, and I play for the Tijuana Luchadors, soon to be NOLA.
Very nice. I always forget that people say their team affiliations. I am a running back for the New Orleans second line in my non-commissioner life. But yeah, so we've got some very exciting awards to get through. We are starting as usual with the DSFL awards, so our developmental league, our rookies and our young players. So with that, we are going to start off with Returner of the Year. Our nominees are Nick Caper-Collin, Thubba Bumper, John Boyce, Garfield Despacito Jr., and Jamar Laxon. Let's see. Someone had stats pulled up for our folks. Yes.
Yeah, I have the stats pulled up for folks here. So, the leader here in return yards would be John Boyes from KC. So put up a long of 104 for a touchdown and had 54 punt return yards. Mar Laxon had over 450 kick return yards and 260 punt return yards with a punt return touchdown. Bubba Bumper had over 500 kick return yards with a long of 45 and over 235 punt return yards. And Garfield Despacito had 510 kick return yards with 228 punt return yards. Nick Caper-Collin had 474 kick return yards and 236 punt return yards with a punt return touch.
Very good. Cool. Well, we'll just hop in and we'll not leave you in suspense. We'll see who our returner of the year is. And it is John Boyes of the Kansas City Coyotes. Looks like he ran away with it here, receiving 31 points. For those of you who are new or aren't quite as familiar with our new voting system, it's a ranked system. You rank first, second, third out of the nominees, and there are different points associated with those ranked voting options. So
This isn't a shock at all. He had 300 more yards than anybody else.
it is very fair. Yeah. Love our returners, love our special teams, and that's why we open up the awards stream with them each year. So congratulations, Mr. Boyes. That'll bring us to Punter of the Year. Our nominees are Carmichael Hunt of the Kansas City Coyotes, Jacob Small of the Tijuana Luchadors, Datsun Fastballs of the London Royals, Philip Stein of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, and Pseudo QB of the Portland Pythons. How did our punters do this year?
Well, Pseudo QB had just shy of 3,600 punt yards, with 16 of them landing inside the 20. Datsun Fastball from London had 4,018 punt yards, with 11 landing inside the 20 with a long of 70 yards. Jacob Small was kicking it for 3,120 yards, 7 inside the 20. Philip Stein had 3,568 with 7 inside the 20, and Carmichael Hunt had 1,524 with 5 inside the 20.
Very good. Let's find out then. Let's see what the voters came back with. And that's some fastball is going to take it. Congratulations. Looks like it was a pretty close race between those top two, Datsun Fastball and Pseudo QB. But in the end, voters put Mr. Fastball over the top there with 27 points received. Perfect, and that'll bring us to Kicker of the Year, which has the same nominees in a slightly different order. Once
Bobby
again,
Boomski was robbed.
Ooh.
you know, it's not an awards stream without a couple of snubs. So
Not only did we snub him, we killed him now. He's gone.
yes, indeed. Datsun Fastball of London Royals, Pseudo QB of the Portland Pythons, Philip Stein of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Carmichael Hunt of the Kansas City Coyotes, and Jacob Small of the Tijuana Luchadors. How did these guys do?
Stein only missed one extra point, going 32 for 33 and went 14 for 17 on field goal attempts. Jacob Small went 34 for 37 and 17 for 22 on field goal attempts. Michael Hunt with 21 for 24 on extra points and 8 for 11 on field goal attempts. Datsun Fastball went 27 for 29 on extra points and 8 for 9 on field goal attempts. And Pseudo QB went 26 for 28 on extra points and 13 for 14 on field goal attempts.
Cool. And let's see who the voters came back with. Pseudo QB. 1 point ahead of Philip Stein. A very close race between those two and Datsun Fastball.
It was really close there when we were voting. Stein had a higher field goal percentage, which is great. But Pseudo QB had a higher extra point percentage, and they were like close enough in the two that you took the guy that was higher in both. Just more balanced all around.
Very fair. Well, congratulations, Mr. Pseudo QB. You are Kicker of the Year. This will bring us to Defensive Back of the Year. Our nominees are Literally Just a Hexagon of the Tijuana Luchadors, Colt Mendoza of the Dallas Bird Dogs, Buck Thornton of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Matt Griddle of the Portland Pythons, and Thubba Bumper of the Norfolk Seawolves. I'm sure there are no strong opinions on this particular award.
That Mendoza dude's a bum.
I've heard good things about that Hexagon kid, good guy out of Tijuana.
Best render in the league.
I have no comment.
Oh, perfect. And the voters have decided it will be Buck Thornton of the Grey Ducks. This is beautiful. It looks like he received 36 points, with the next closest being Mr. Hexagon with 20. And then some points for our other friends here as well.
Hey, I didn't come in last.
I didn't have you read the stats, but go ahead and tell us how Buck Thornton did this year.
Buck Thornton had 72 tackles, and 2 of them were for loss, a forced fumble, and 8 sacks from the DB position, interceptions deflected, and 2 touchdowns with a blocked punt. I think that blocked punt really put him over the edge.
Yep.
Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. All right.
Indeed. Well, congratulations, Mr. Thornton. That'll bring us to Linebacker of the Year. Our nominees are Eric Richards of the London Royals, Hingle McCringleberry of the Dallas Bird Dogs, Dex Kennedy of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Blade McCoy of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Jack Banks of the Norfolk Seawolves. How do these guys do?
Let's see. Jack Banks, had 117 tackles, 9 of them for loss, 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. Eric Richards had 116 tackles, 2 of those were for loss, a sack, 5 forced fumbled, and another interception. Blade McCoy had 147 tackles, 3 of them for loss, a sack, and 3 forced fumbles. Dex Kennedy had 126 tackles, 6 for loss, 12 sacks, and a forced fumble. Hingle McCringleberry had 54 tackles, 17 of them for loss, 5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't expect McCringleberry to win this, but he had more pass deflections for passes defended than most defensive backs.
Yeah, he had 16 passes deflected.
Wow.
Huh.
He
Yeah.
had
Good for him.
Yeah.
he had as many pass deflections as he had tackles for loss, almost.
Dude's a monster.
Dang. Bridge beast.
Excellent. Well,
I found the glitch in the sim, and he just abused it all year.
Oh, jeez.
a glitch in our sim couldn't be.
No comment. I haven't found the gray area in the rules.
Oh, jeez.
This has
I
got to
mean-
be Richard though.
I
All
mean,
right. Let us
we-
see.
I think it's gonna be Richards.
And it is receiving 20 points. Jack Banks closest with 17, followed by Dex Kennedy at 14. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Wow, I'm really surprised Blake McCoy is as low as he is, though. I thought he'd get a few more votes.
No
Dude,
love for Mr.
Blaster
McCoy.
was a tackling machine this year.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Richards. This will bring us to Defensive Lineman of the Year. Our nominees are Mike Carpassi of the Norfolk Seawolves, Son Goku of the Kansas City Coyotes, Mario Von Pebbles of the Minnesota Great Ducks, Walter Chestnut III of the Minnesota Great Ducks, and CJ Riley. What are these guys putting up numbers-wise?
So CJ Riley had 45 tackles, 25 for loss, and 2 sacks. Walter Chestnut III had 51 tackles, and 19 of them were for loss, with 7 sacks. Son Goku had 85 tackles, 16 of them for loss, with 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and 9 sacks. Karpasi had 44 tackles, 15 for loss, forced fumble, and a fumble recovery, and 7 sacks. Mario Von Pebbles had 40 tackles, 13 of them for loss, and 6 sacks.
Cool. Who are we thinking here?
I think Son Goku in
Yeah, this has got to be Goku
fumble
or
recovery and 9 sacks. Yeah.
Yep.
it's got to be Goku.
Very good. Let's see if the voters agreed. And they did. Ran away with it, as you can see, with 34 points received. Son Goku is your Defensive Lineman of the Year. This will bring us to our favorite, the Offensive Lineman of the Year award. Your nominees are Kevin Malone of the Tijuana Luchadors, Dick Thruster of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Julio Jones of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Tommy Sacamano of the Portland Pythons, and Douglas Quayle of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers. Talk to me about pancakes. What
All
do we
right.
got?
So pancakes are the best, and we love our big boys. So Julio Jones came in with 62 pancakes. Behind him was Kevin Malone with 61, Douglas Quayle 54, Tommy Sacamano with 50, and Dick Thruster with 46.
That's a lot of pancakes.
Honestly.
So who are you thinking here, Soup?
I'm biased. Kevin Malone used to be my GM, so I have to go with Kevin Malone plus Tijuana represent. But Julio Jones is also a great lineman, so it's definitely down between those two.
Yeah, I think Julio probably gets it with that one extra pancake. But for our Fair Rubs fans, this was a total of 273 pancakes nominated for the awards, which is 91 short stacks.
So much breakfast food. My goodness.
I would legitimately bet all 150 million of my fake in a small bank account that none of you go to IHOP tonight and eat 91 short stacks of pancakes.
We don't want to kill our fans, so
I think it's funny.
don't try that at home. Let's see who the voters went with here. And indeed, Julio Jones takes it with 31 points received. Congratulations, Mr. Jones. You are the Offensive Lineman of the Year at the DSFL level. This will bring us to Tight End of the Year. We have our 4 nominees, Tree Gelbman of the Kansas City Coyotes, Donatello Arrabbiati of the London Royals, Renaud Haugland of the Norfolk Seawolves, and James Angler of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers.
All right, so Tree Gelbman had 53 receptions on 423 yards with a touchdown and 17 pancakes. Donatello Arrabbiata had 62 receptions for 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 11 pancakes. Nod Holland had 60 receptions for 464 yards, 3 touchdowns. 23 pancakes and has 0 allowed sacks. James Angler had 47 receptions, 441 yards, and 3 touchdowns with 19 pancakes. So our tight ends are also out here getting them short stacks.
I'm officially casting my ballot for Donatello because I really want to see Guy Fieri.
Ooh.
It's the Beck's school of hoping in these.
This is how I did my voting this year. If anybody's concerned about how Dallas voted, best render gets our vote.
At least you're honest about it. All right, let's see what the voters said. And
Hey.
indeed, Donatello Arrabbiata is our tight end of the year. Look at that face.
Award is going back to Flavortown. Let's go.
Beautiful.
All right.
All right, this will move us into wide receiver of the year. Our nominees are Mike Lee of the Dallas Bird Dogs, Damon Brooks of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Friedrich Vacane of the Tijuana Luchadors, Tychondrius Hood of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, and Nick Capricolin of the London Royals.
All right.
How did our catchy boys do?
They did pretty well. Mike Lee had 49 receptions for 732 yards and 5 touchdowns. Damon Brooks had 52 receptions for 6 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Friedrich Vacane had 72 receptions for 938 yards and 6 touchdowns. Andreas Hood had 57 receptions for 835 yards and 7 touchdowns. Capricolin had 62 receptions for 797 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I'm thinking this is Tychondrius. Highest yards, right up there in touchdowns, and he was splitting it with somebody else who made the wide receiver of the year nominee list. I realize all these guys had a great wide receiver 2 behind him, but he was splitting it with somebody else who did significantly well enough to make this list as well.
I think it's going to be Vacane. I mean, 72 receptions leads the list here in total catches, and that's what you want your receiver to do. You want him to go out and make catches.
Well, we will see. And the voters went with Tychondrius Hood. 28 points received. Vacane in a close second at 22 points received. So yeah, getting some more Grey Duck love here. For wide receiver of the year. I believe he is in the chat, so I hope you are proud of this achievement. And that'll bring us to the award that's closest to my heart, running back of the year. Our nominees are Kitwa Jones of the Dallas Bird Dogs, Richard Gilbert of the Tijuana Luchadors, Nick Ayers of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, 3 Jeffrey of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, and Jamar Laxon of the Minnesota Grey Ducks.
All right, so Kajwa Jones had 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns, and also put on a good 51 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. Richard Gilbert had 1,330 rushing yards with 10 rushing touchdowns, had 9 receptions for 92 yards and a receiving touchdown. Nick Ayers had 1,350 rushing yards with 7 touchdowns and 10 receptions for 49 yards. Jeffrey had 1,265 yards with 4 touchdowns and 2 receptions for 9 yards. Jamar Laxon had 1,400 yards with 9 touchdowns and 6 receptions for 41 yards. And we're forgetting one big person, and that's Joe Fish. Huge Joe Fish snub. Fish definitely should be on here, but just me. Offensive Joe of the Year, man, right there.
Indeed. Okay. Well, let's see who the voters went with here.
It's got to be Kitchwa. 5.3 average, baby.
Indeed. Yep, running away with it here. 29 points received. Closest behind that is 16 for Laxon. So, yeah, absolutely Jones's game this year. So, congratulations, running back of the year.
An update on my pancake bet. Apparently, Kyle, also known as Averted, has been kicked out of IHOP 2 years in a row on Endless Pancake Day. So I might be out my 150 million.
It's okay. You're not allowed to bet anyway. Your money's safe. Perfect. This will move us into quarterback of the year. Our nominees are George O'Donnell of the Portland Pythons, Colby Jack of the London Royals, Chris Ramos of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Monty Jack of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Sim Snowboat of the Minnesota Grey Ducks.
All right. So Sim Snowbo had 2,530 yards with 18 touchdowns and actually 17 rushing yards on the ground. So he was moving. Colby Jack had 2,000 and just shy of 2,400 yards with 16 touchdowns and 68 rushing yards. Chris Ramos had 1,930 passing yards with 17 touchdowns and 419 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Monty Jack had 1,985 yards with 10 touchdowns, 13 rushing yards. And George O'Donnell had 1,974 yards with 10 touchdowns and 166 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns.
All I'm gonna say is that Monty Jack would win this award if we counted touchdowns thrown to the other team.
Oh,
It's gonna be Sim Snowbo. Advance the slide. That man was ridiculous this year.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Sim Snowbo, but George O'Donnell. Just want to say that George O'Donnell, halfway through the season, when the Chicago Butchers traded their QB away, George O'Donnell may have been called up. So I think he's the only one on here that had that opportunity to be called up mid-season to the NSFL. So I think George O'Donnell, but it's definitely gonna be Snowbo.
let's find out. Yes, indeed.
Oh, it's a tie.
Wait, it's a tie.
Oh,
Oh,
yep.
no.
So our tiebreaker is most first place votes. So if you have if like 8 people rank you first versus seven people rank the other person first, then the person with 8 firsts gets it, even if the number totals are tied. So this was very, very close, but Sim Snowbo just barely comes out ahead.
Spicy.
Indeed. That is a good catch. I was just very ready to accept Snowy as our winner here. So congratulations to both, though. It's a tight race there. Cool. This will bring us to some of our higher distinction awards. First off is Offensive Rookie of the Year. Our nominees are Joseph Petrangelo of the Portland Pythons, Tychondrius Hood of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Nicholas Ayers of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Luca Scabia of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and 3 Jeffrey of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers.
All right. So Tychondrius Hood had 57 receptions on 835 yards, 7 touchdowns. 3 Jeffrey had 1,265 yards and 4 touchdowns. Nicholas Ayers had 1,348 yards with 7 touchdowns. And Lucas Scabia had 584 yards with 4 touchdowns. And the Offensive Joe of the Year, the obvious choice here, Joseph Petrangelo had 1,188 rushing yards with 5 rushing touchdowns and 11 receptions for 54 yards. Right there. Gotta be him, Petrangelo.
Let's see what the voters said. And the voters, once again, reach for Tychondrius Hood of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, receiving 29 points. Closest behind was the Nicholas Ayers. That was 22. So,
Grey Ducks must have
congratulations.
stuffed the ballot box this year.
Yeah, they're taking home a lot of these. Good for them. Perfect. This will bring us to Defensive Rookie of the Year. And as you can see, it's a very balanced list of nominations here.
I have a 25% chance to be really depressed after this slide.
Yes. We have Mike Carpassi of the Norfolk Seawolves, and then we have Tomaj McGallagher of the Dallas Bird Dogs, Blade McCoy of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Raphael Dalcott of the Dallas Bird Dogs.
All right. So our defensive rookie of the years, Mike Carpassi at the DM position put 44 tackles, 15 of them for loss, forced fumble and a fumble recovery, and 7 sacks. Tomaj McGallagher had 53 tackles in the corner position, 1 forced fumble and a fumble recovery with 2 interceptions and 13 passes deflected. Raphael Dalcott from the free safety position had 49 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 fumble recovery, 3 interceptions, 10 passes deflected, and a defensive touchdown. Blade McCoy, linebacker, had 147 tackles, 3 of them for loss, 3 forced fumbles, a sack, and 2 passes deflected. So I gotta ask, when you have 3 guys up for Defensive Rookie of the Year in the locker room, are they like arguing with each other about who's better, or are they just praising each other about this like opportunity?
Our defense was really tight knit this year, and there are multiple people who could be on this list that weren't. When we went through linebacker of the year, we saw Hingle McCringleberry, who had that ridiculous stat line with me moving around between the defensive line positions and linebacker a lot. Our third linebacker, Bradley Owens, also put up over 100 tackles and had a ridiculous year. They all just kind of came together this year, and I think they're all really excited to be nominated. I'm super biased. This should go to Dialcott. Kento's been a real trooper this year. Came in as a wide receiver. We converted him to a safety. By the end of the year, I was running him at outside linebacker, at corner, all over the field. Pick 6 in our last game to end the season. Just total stud.
Very good. Well, let's see what the voters want right here.
I hit that 25% chance to be depressed. I'm out.
Voters here went for Mike Carpassi. Very tight race between him and Dalcott. Difference of 1 point. But the young Seawolf will take it home. Congratulations to Mr. Carpassi. That is very close. That is.
On that.
I want to rage quit.
I just want to say you 100% jinxed it when you're like, oh, I have a 25% chance to be
I
disappointed.
totally don't know
Never
these
tell
going
me
in
to go.
either.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that was the only Seawolf win so far. So I'm glad we got it.
We can make up for it right here with Kitchwa.
Indeed. Let's
Bring it
see.
home.
For Offensive Performance of the Year, we have Taylor Cooper week 2 for the Kansas City Coyotes, Richard Gilbert in week 3 for the Tijuana Luchadors, 3 Jeffrey in week 1 for the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Keechwa Jones week 8 for the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Chris Ramos week 11 for the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers.
Right. So kicking these off with Taylor Cooper in week 2, his stat line was 7 receptions for 109 yards and 3 trips to the end zone through the air. And then for Richard Gilbert, week 3, had 19 attempts on the ground for 101 yards and a touchdown, and a reception for 17 yards and a touchdown. 3 Jeffrey kicked off the season with 25 attempts for 135 yards and a touchdown. Keechwa Jones in week 8 had 13 attempts for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. And finally, Chris Ramos, week 11, went 9 for 15 for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Has to go to Taylor Cooper. I mean, 3 touchdown receptions, that's big.
Yeah, it's him or Kitchwa to me. It just depends on whether the voters thought 7 receptions averaging, what is that, like 16-ish a catch, is more impressive than almost 10 yards a carry on the ground.
We shall find out. So let's see if we're going to make our friend sad here. Taylor Cooper week 2.
Sad again.
Less close than I would think it would be. 27 points for Cooper and 20 for Jones. But those were the 2 on top. So
There's a rig to get to the Bird Dogs. Y'all bring me on here just to make me sad.
I mean, Steg, you probably voted for this guy because of his render.
I mean, dude, that
Look at that
axe is iconic.
beautiful. Alrighty. This will bring us to our Defensive Performance of the Year award. And our nominees are Literally Just a Hexagon, week 10, Tijuana Luchadors. Thebba Bumper, week 13 for the Norfolk Seawolves. Omar Wright Jr., week 7 for the Portland Pythons. Colt Mendoza, week 9 for the Dallas Bird Dogs. And Dex Kennedy, week 8 for the Minnesota Grey Ducks.
All right, so Hexagon put up in week 10, 14 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 passes deflected, and a defensive touchdown. Thebba Bumper in week 13 had 6 tackles, an interception, and a defensive touchdown. Omar Wright Jr., week 7, had 17 tackles and a sack. Colt Mendoza, week 12 tackles, a sack, and the very rare safety, Dex Kennedy, 11 tackles and 3 sacks in week 8.
Get that Mendoza bomb out of here. That wasn't even that good a game.
I know that historically voters have
be
loved
Hex.
the touchdown. So I think, yeah.
This is 100% Hexagon.
I'm going with Hex also. He just had, like, Bumper also had a defensive touchdown, but Hex had 2 interceptions and more tackles, pass deflected. I think it's Hex.
All right, let's find out. And indeed, literally
And
just
some-
Hexagon
In the sombrero too.
I'd like to thank the Academy. Also, when I was watching this game with Bex and Lemon, I literally at the end of the game screamed out, "That is performance of the year." I called it.
And
So.
you were right. Yeah. My favorite thing is, so I'm in the back, like the behind the scenes part of the awards server. Not the awards server, the events server. And Big Red was like, "Can I do the render for this one?" Because he wanted to do the sombrero on it, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. All right, let's move on here. This will bring us to General Manager of the Year. You can see a bunch of our managers here have votes. We have Deadly Player and Hayashti of the Royals, Scorpion Junie of Seawolves, Dewalt and Rampage of the Great Ducks, Kaneko, and our dear Soup here for the Pythons, and then Fleshbag Soup, aka Bagel, and J Doctor of the Luchadors have received votes here. All of our DSVille GMs did fabulously this year. Really, really proud of all of them and their efforts in kind of the most important part of the league, if I'm allowed to be a little bit sappy. But let's just jump in and see who's winning this one this year. And we have a tie. So GM of the Year and Most Dedicated Member are just straight votes. You vote for who you want. There's no ranking. So both receiving 4 votes. We have Bagel and Jay of Tijuana and DeWalt and Rampage of Minnesota. These 4 are our new reigning GMs of the year.
So do they split the award like top to bottom or like left and right?
It's more of a shared custody thing. I think Tijuana can have it on weekends.
Oh, okay. So like the wall gets it every other Tuesday. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but who gets holidays?
That's a good question. I think they will.
That's up to the award to decide which parent gives better gifts.
I think Bagel is going to be the one who gives better gifts. That's my just impulse based on. I don't think Bagel watches these, but if you are watching Bagel, I love you. And congratulations to all 4 of these, amazing GMs, amazing work. Yeah. Very good. This will bring us to Offensive Player of the Year. Our nominees are Chris Ramos of Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Sim Snobo of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Frederick Vacane of the Tijuana Luchadors, Kichwa Jones of the Dallas Bird Dogs, and Jamar Laxon of the Minnesota Grey Ducks.
All right, so this is a review, as most of these guys have been up for other awards as well because they just had such great seasons. Chris Ramos had 1,936 passing yards with 119 rushing yards as well, with the total of 21 touchdowns, 17 pass, and 4. Sim Snobo had 2,538 passing yards with 18 touchdowns and 17 rushing yards. Frederick Vacane had 72 receptions for 938 yards and 6 touchdowns. Kichwa Jones had 168 attempts with 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. And Jamar Laxon had 1,410 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Very good. Let's jump in and see. I think we've all kind of touched on most of these. And finally, Stag gets to be happy.
No, it's not. My bad.
This is like bitter though, because it means he can't win MVP.
That's
like
true.
even when I win, I lose.
It was very close though. If you're looking at here, 23 points received for Jones, with 22 going to Ramos. Race to the end for those 2, but in the end, we're seeing some bird dog pride here for Offensive Player of the Year.
What surprises me is that Vacane's up for Offensive Player of the Year, right? But he didn't even win Receiver of the Year.
The awards for the nominations for this one make no sense to me because Colby Jack tied Snowboat for QB of the Year, yet doesn't get nominated for Player of the Year.
It's yeah.
This one's confusing to me. Oh well.
It's fair enough. Well, let's move on here to Defensive Player of the Year. Our nominees are Dex Kennedy of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Jack Banks of the Norfolk Seawolves, literally just a hexagon, of the Tijuana Luchadors, Buck Thornton of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, and Son Goku of the Kansas City Coyotes. All of them, I think, have been nominated for things as well.
Yes.
Yes, all of them been up for things before.
Awesome.
Any notable stats you want to highlight?
I guess not.
I think John's 5 interceptions. That's pretty nice. I like. I'm a big tackles guy, so Dex Kennedy has the most here with 126 and 12 sacks as well. And then Son Goku just knew how to like get in the backfield because he had 16 tackles for loss.
Nice.
Fair. Okay. Well, I'm kind of anxious to see who's going to be up here. So let's find out. And Buck Thornton taking it home again. 28 points received. Very clear winner here points wise. Lots of Grey Duck love this year.
Can't believe I forgot to highlight this, but Buck Thornton was the one with the blocked punt, and I just
Right. You can't.
my
forget.
entire time being here, I've never seen a blocked punt, so this is the first time for me.
It's something special. So very, very good for him. And so this is a kind of new debut of this award here. As you know, those of you who have been around for a while, we have the most dedicated member at the NSFL level, and this year we're bringing it to the DSFL for the DSFL most dedicated member, kind of aimed at celebrating our very special new members of the league who are coming in and making a difference from the onset. So we have 3 nominees here to kind of talk through. We have Tylus, we have Amidships, and we have Silfreni. 2 of you have been GMs. Have you had any experiences with these folks that you want to talk about?
So Freddie smells really badly. Amid should win this award all day long. The man's a beast. He recruited his wife to join the league. That should tell you enough. I mentioned this league to my girlfriend, and she looks at me like I'm really weird, and doesn't talk to me for a couple days.
Oh, amazing. I mean, Tylus, I know I've been seeing him around a ton in general chat, welcoming new people, trying to help them as they get in, which I think is so cool. I think rookies helping rookies is one of the most impressive and exciting things for me to see, just from a leadership perspective. Amidships, I know, is part of our events graphics crew. They're the ones who make stuff like this possible. Those of you who have seen our draft streams know how much work goes into those, and Amid has been part of that, as well as his other kind of involvements in recruiting his wife, which is exciting. Always happy to have more girls around the league. And then, if you don't know Silfreni, where have you been? He's coming for the podcast king crown, I think, at this point.
I would like to point out this isn't Silfreni, this is Silferni. Must be his evil twin.
Yes, the evil twin. We can't give most dedicated member to the evil twin. That's just unfair.
No, not at all.
I definitely wasn't supposed to fix that, but let's figure out who it is.
Yep, let's see.
It's rigged.
Indeed, evil twin wins it. Very close here. Silfreni with 5 and Amid with 4. Tylus with 1. Tylus is great though. Tylus, I know you're watching. I love you. Keep being amazing. Amidships, wonderful as well. And then Mr. Podcast himself taking it away. He'll have to address this on his next podcast. He should give us an acceptance speech. That's my challenge to him.
Bring me on again, Sil. I want to make you uncomfortable.
Same. Let's both go on. And
me and Beck's joint pod, Sil. Hook it up. Make it happen.
Wonderful. All right. I believe that brings us to MVP. Yeah. Our nominees for MVP are Chris Ramos of the Myrtle Beach Buccaneers, Dex Kennedy of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Sim Snowbow of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, Buck Thornton of the Minnesota Grey Ducks, and Keechwa Jones of the Dallas Bird Dogs.
Well, it can't be Kichwa, so I'm just gonna go sit in the corner and be sad.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna be Snowbow.
Yeah, it's gonna be Snowbow.
It's gonna be Snowbow, yeah.
And that's defensive for MVP, Buck
I
Thornton.
would love.
Did you see that
I
nice
love
shirtless Rinder again?
Well, I gotta go for like 15 minutes, and we'll be back and figure out the winner.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right.
I'll entertain the audience.
All right.
Me babbling for 50
So the
minutes.
winner of the most valuable player.
It is indeed Sim Snovo. Congratulations, Snowy. Yeah, excellent performance. And yes.
Well, I have to switch the PowerPoint now. So,
Yeah.
Bop.
This is the most exciting point because there's not anything like we're scripted on to talk about because
I could tell them about the laptop I'm on.
you could
on.
you are welcome to if you'd like to tell our friends why we were a little bit late.
So guys, since I got blamed for being late, I've broken 3 computers in the span of a week. I'm currently back home in my college town, moving out of my apartment because I start my job in a week or two. And I realized that I committed to doing this and I didn't have a computer. So I called a girl that I used to have a thing with, borrowed her computer. It was the most awkward phone call in the world. But here we are. If you aren't borrowing X-Fling's computers to conduct a league business, you aren't dedicated enough.
It's true. I'm actually quite happy because this is the first year that I don't have to have like 13 million devices. So the last couple of draft streams and stuff that I've hosted, I've had like my phone, my simming laptop, and my regular laptop like spread out on my not even my desk because my desk's been super messy, but like just like the top of my fireplace, like my mantle. So I like stand and do all of the draft stuff. So the fact that I'm sitting at my desk with one computer and no other devices is like so exciting to me.
Oh, by the way, news to break. Silfreni has just alerted me that Bex and I will be the next Silfreni show, assuming Bex agrees.
Yes! This is amazing news.
All right. This should be up and ready.
This will move us into the NSFL. I'm going to be really annoying and at everyone again because no one can stop me. That's my
Yes! Oppress the people!
NSFL Awards.
I just want to say, Beck said that you guys had a script. I never received that, so I've just been kind of spitballing it.
What?
The script is just to sound like you're smarter than you are while cracking slightly witty jokes that make you dumber than you are.
I just read off the script, oppress the people. Where do you think I got that witty content?
Indeed.
Well, hey, Joe.
Did I miss a memo?
Yeah, no, getting to at everyone is like the highlight of my day as commissioner. It's great. So
Are you sure? This will alert 700 people, Bex.
Yes, it's great. Perfect. We're going to hop right in here. Top of our order, as always, is Returner of the Year. We have 5 wonderful nominees here. We have Dermot Lavelle Jr. of the Austin Copperheads. Oh gosh, okay. This is the hard thing.
We got this guy from Honolulu?
Yeah, we have this really cool person, Kane Makikae.
That's White Goodman.
Perfect.
That's the White Goodman impersonator.
Beautiful. We also have Walt Green of the Baltimore Hawks, Forrest Gump of the New Orleans second line, and Louisiana Purchase of Colorado.
All right. So, off the special teams, starting off with Dermot Lavelle Jr. had 758 return yards and 266 punt return yards. Iokio Kane Makai had 747 kick return yards and 187 punt return yards and a punt return touchdown. Walt Green had 928 kick return yards and a kick return touchdown with 179 punt return yards. Forrest Gump had 118 yards on kick returns and 173 punt return yards. And Louisiana Purchase had 789 kick return yards. And just imagine, you're in a stadium, you're seeing your team play, right? And then Kyokyo Kane Makai scores a punt return touch. You hear from the announcer trying to say all that.
So I like being the data guy, right? But in this specific situation, the data is telling me that Gucci's player needs to win this just because I want to hear us all butcher his name again.
Well, let's see if we'll have to.
After 100,000 sims, this is what I've concluded.
And the winner is Walt Green. 42 points received. Closest second was Forrest Gump with 32.
I think Kyokyo Kane Makai got robbed there.
Congratulations to Duilio. Glad he can win some awards before he's kind of ineligible going forward. So good on him. Perfect. This will bring us to Punter of the Year. Our nominees are Alfredo Crisco of the Austin Copperheads, For the Brand of the Baltimore Hawks, Silver Banana of the Colorado Yeti, Venus Powers of the Honolulu Hahalua, and Matt McDermott of the San Jose Sabercats.
All right, so Alfredo Crisco had 3,737 punt yards with 12 inside the 20. Still, For the Brand had 3,939 punt return yards with 17 inside the 20. Silver Banana had 4,006 yards with 13 inside the 20. Venus Powers had 4,003 yards with 17 inside the 20. And Matt McDermott had 3,362 punt return yards with 14 inside the 20. I think my favorite part about this stat line is two people have like really identical numbers. Alfredo Crisco has 3,737 yards, and For the Brand has 3,939 yards, and it's just aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Crisco's the GOAT, but this is going to go to Powers.
Hours.
I like Powers getting it because then it's POTY, Powers of the Year, which has been Baron's nickname in general for a while. So let's find out.
Give Baron the award. Let's go.
Indeed. Congratulations to Venus Powers, Punter of the Year, by a landslide, 45 points received.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. This brings us to Kicker of the Year. Our nominees are Dougie Smalls of the Yellowknife Wraiths, Silver Banana of the Colorado Yeti, Alfredo Crisco of the Austin Copperheads, Matt McDermott of the San Jose Sabercats, and Alex D. of the Orange County Otters.
You're not going to try to say that name, Bex?
No, sir.
That name is against the rules of the NSFL. Look in the rule book. You can only have 22 characters in your name.
Technically illegal. We're coming for you.
Okay. Clarification question, since I have the most powerful person in the league right here. Is it 22 characters in your first name, 22 characters in your last name, or 22 characters combined?
Total.
It's total. That's lame.
My name is perfectly at the limit if you needed to know.
I'm glad we're too busy to conduct the name audit to actually enforce this currently, because I feel like that would be a ridiculous use of our time. But how did our kickers do number-wise?
So, numbers-wise, Dougie Smalls had 40 through 46 on extra points and 27 for 28 from field goals with a long of 56. Silver Banana was perfect on extra points and 25 for 28 on field goals with a long of 54. Alfredo Crisco was 42 for 43 on extra points and 20 for 22 on field goals with a long of 46. Matt McDermott was 34 for 35 on extra points and 14 for 14 on field goals with a long of 56. And Alex Desistwork-like-Sinaka-name was perfect on extra points and 29 for 31 on field goals with a long of 52. Another stat about Alex Desistwork-like-Sinaka-name. In the spreadsheet we have with all the award winners' stats, it's just Alex D.
Can we give Soup an award for being the best awards commentator for doing that name?
His award will be the paycheck that you get for events team.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all are getting paid for this? Hang on.
Sweet 2 million.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's find out who we're giving it to here. Indeed, going to Dougie Smalls.
There's another tie.
Was a tie.
Yep. Exceptionally close here. 33 points received for Dougie Smalls and Alex D. But Dougie Smalls received the most first place votes and therefore wins the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Good job. What a guy.
Yeah, cool. This will bring us to Safety of the Year. Our nominees are Quinn Hughes of the the Arizona Outlaws, and then Howard Seju of the Austin Copperheads, Ragnarok of the Sarasota Sailfish, Mason Blaylock of the New Orleans Second Line, and Thor Kirkby of the Colorado Yeti. How do our safeties do?
I didn't know it was pronounced Sejuk. Wow, I actually always just thought it was the way it was spelled. But anyways,
no one reads the wiki. It's clearly laid out in his player wiki.
I got trashed for this last awards, man. Don't make the mistake I did.
Wow, I really thought, man, I'm so sorry about that. For
He's
not
just
reading
a
your
safety
wiki.
from Austin.
If you're not reading every single player wiki that's published, what are you even doing with your life?
Honestly, I need to catch up. My bad. Anyways, Quinn Hughes had 73 tackles, 1 for loss, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, and a touchdown. The safety from Austin is coming in with 125 tackles, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, an interception, and 9 passes deflected. Ragnarok had 98 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, a sack, 2 interceptions, and 8 passes deflected. Mason Blaylock had 76 tackles, 4 sacks, 3 passes deflected, 3 interceptions, and a defensive touchdown. Thor Kirkby had 64 tackles, a fumble recovery, 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, and 1 touchdown.
How we feeling here?
I'm trying to remember who I voted for, if I'm super honest.
Well, I'm a homer, and I know nothing about anything, so I'm gonna go with Mason Blaylock.
See, I'm gonna go with Quinn Hughes. Had the best stat line out of all of these guys. Against Mason Blaylock, great guy. Love Jay, but Mason Blaylock's the only one on here with nothing in regards to fumbles, and everyone else at least has either a forced fumble or a fumble recovery. So I really think that's gonna affect his totals negatively.
I guess that means I'm gonna be a homer, and I've got to go with Adam because if I don't, he'll find me and hurt me.
All right.
Beautiful. All right, let's find out who the voters went with.
Hey!
Ethan Blaylock.
Wow.
30 points received for him. Quinn Hughes in second place with 23 points received.
Hey, I want you to know I still love you. Even though I didn't pick you seconds ago, you're still the best.
Doesn't matter if our friend here picked you because you won. Congratulations.
Can we just comment that y'all both picked good people, first and second, and then I somehow picked the fifth place vote.
This is what homering gets you sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm the court jester of this stream right now.
And it shows. If you go with the home, you either get the number 1 pick or the last pick. 'Cause that's how both of y'all decided.
True.
Depends on what home is, I guess. Perfect. Let's move on now to our other secondary award here. Cornerback of the year. Our nominees are Mervyn Leonard of the Yellowknife Wraiths, Rudicus Scott of the Colorado Yeti, Samir Kayla of the Austin. Oh gosh, I don't know why my brain's doing that today. Arizona Outlaws, AJ Latimer of the Orange County Otters, and David Rector of the New Orleans Second Line.
Right. So Leonard had 61 tackles, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery with 5 interceptions, 17 passes deflected, and a touchdown. Rudicus Scott had 87 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 11 pass deflections, and a defensive touchdown. Zamir Keela had 85 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, interceptions, 12 passes deflected, and 2 touchdowns. AJ Latimer had 48 tackles with 5 interceptions and 24 passes deflected. And David Reckel 17 passes. How are you guys feeling on this award?
Can I double down on homerism and say Rector? Is that allowed?
I agree.
I have no dog in this race now, so I might actually have a shot at picking the winner.
I hope you don't have a dog,
So-
of course. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it'd be weird. But you know I'm weird. I'll take Leonard. With the amazing year. Kind of outdid by Latimer in pass deflections, but about everything else he beat him in.
I'm gonna go with Keela. I think the stats speak for themselves. I mean, 2 defensive touchdowns. Like, come on.
That's true. Voters do love touchdowns.
True. Well, let's see which dog is in this horse.
And
This
indeed,
podcast is getting PG-13 real quick.
Mervyn Leonard taking it away with 33 points received. AJ Latimer coming in second with 29 points. Very good.
And homerism got you guys in the last again. David Rector.
That's
That's
okay.
I picked a winner right here.
Heck yeah.
We
We
got
did it.
one. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to linebacker of the year. Our nominees are Ugarth the Dissector of the New Orleans second line, Wayne Hagenau of the Philadelphia Liberty, Calf Wilf of the Arizona Outlaws, Mo Berry of the Colorado Yeti, and Maurice Vertanen of the Yellowknife Wraiths.
All right. So Garth got 76 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 9 sacks, an interception, and 16 passes deflected. Wayne had 84 tackles, 2 for loss, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 9 sacks, an interception, 16 passes deflected, and a touchdown. Galf Wilf had 103 tackles, 2 of them for loss, 9 sacks, and 14 pass deflections. Barry, MoVP, had 113 tackles, 1 forced fumbles, 11 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 14 pass deflections. Maurice Vertanen had 96 tackles, 1 fumble recovery with 12 sacks and 10 pass deflections.
So I think this is going to Mo Berry, but I want to take a minute to give a shout out to my boy Hodma Edmond from Austin. He was definitely snubbed from this list, and the only person I have to blame is myself as the Austin rep on the awards committee. So tag me in general chat and tell me I'm a bad human being for not getting him nominated for this, but he's set a tackle record this year and had an incredible year. But this is Mo Berry's award right now.
I'm going to have to agree with Steg there. I also think Edmonds should have at least been on this list.
Absolutely.
For half a second, I thought you were going to say that you agree that he is a terrible person. And I was like, wait.
That's something we all agree on. That doesn't need to be said.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the obvious there. But I think Edmonds definitely deserved to be nominated and might even win. I mean, the most tackles in a season in the 13-game era. And then also, if you take the average, he actually had more tackles per game than the leader who has the most tackles in a season. So I think Edmonds should have definitely been on here, and it was a huge snub. I'm going to go with homerism because finally I see one of my Philly boys up here. Only one with a touchdown, man. That's all I got to say about that. And it's Mo Berry's award.
I think it is. It's always Mo's. Let's see it though.
Ugarth is also a rookie, and I love him, so I'm going home as always.
And indeed, going to Mo Berry, 44 points received. Distant second with Wayne Hagenau at 25 points received. But yeah, clear winner here. Mo Berry, linebacker of the year. Is this 3 times in a row now?
Yeah, it's something crazy like that.
If no one can correct me, it's officially 3 times, and if I'm wrong, too bad.
Bex, you're never wrong.
I'm wrong very frequently. It's okay, though. I just act like I'm confident about it, and it's fine. Cool. That'll bring us to Defensive Tackle of the Year. And our nominees are Giannis Krustis of Yellowknife Wraiths, Kyle Idlewild of the Austin Copperheads. I can't believe I said that with one take.
He's a scrub. Don't worry.
I'm so bad at saying his name. Bubba Thumper of the Colorado Yeti, Pete Miller of the Arizona Outlaws, and Shane Masters of the Arizona Outlaws.
All right. So Krustis had 54 tackles, 2 of them for loss, 13 sacks, and my favorite stat, a blocked punt. Idlewild had 56 tackles, 5 of them for loss, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery with 9 sacks. Bubba Thumper had 40 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, and 10 sacks. Miller had 40 tackles, 3 of them for loss, and 12 sacks. And Shane Masters had 45 tackles, 7 of them for loss, and 7 sacks.
It's probably Krustis, but if I don't give support to Kyle, he'll come after me in the Bird Dogs locker room. We have a call scheduled after this award show to prep for the DSFL draft, and I don't want to deal with his wrath. So, Kyle for Defensive Tackle of the Year.
I've got to give a shout out to Bubba Thumper because Woker is my best friend, so he needs to just get the shout out. I'm glad that he's got a nomination here, and I don't think he'll win, but he's a great person and a great defensive tackle. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Krustis because that blocked punt is just amazing, and you guys just let him fall into my lap. I will give a shout out to Kyle, though. Kyle is probably one of my favorite people in this league. Probably second after my co-GM. But me and Kyle we were on the same rookie team together, and we've kept in touch ever since, both becoming DSFL GMs and GMs throughout the league. So big shout out to him, but this is definitely Krustis' award.
Let us see if you are right. And you ran away with it. 43 points received. And next closest was Kyle with 27 points received.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. Yeah, very exciting stuff. We'll move on to our other part of the defensive line here with defensive end of the year. Your nominees are Simeon Works of the Chicago Butchers, Emmanuel Blackstone of the Colorado Yeti, Lawrence Bass of the San Jose SaberCats, Ben of the New Orleans second line, and Matt Hull of the Baltimore Hawks. I don't want to. Ben is going to watch this back and be like, "Why didn't you say the name?" Because I'm bad at it, and I don't want to disrespect that name. So.
Right. Well, Simeon Works had 32 tackles, 17 for loss, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 2 sacks, and a safety. Manuel Blackstone had 42 tackles, 12 for loss, 2 forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, 6 sacks. And then these next 2 stats are very surprising. He had a safety and a blocked punt.
Blocked punt. You can't argue with that.
I must not be watching The Sims because these are the most blocked punts I've ever seen. And I'm very bad, I guess. Lawrence Bass had 40 tackles, 18 for loss, 3 sacks, and a safety. Ben Tuinuku tackles, 13 for loss, 2 recoveries, and 5 sacks. Matt Hull had 42 tackles, 8 for loss, and 3 sacks. I'm taking Blackstone to win the award.
I'm taking Blackstone here too. Just had everything and the block punts.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Emmanuel Blackstone.
And he's going to win it, too. Congratulations.
Look at that
39
render.
points received.
That's a beautiful man.
Heck yeah.
Bex doesn't know what to say right now.
I'm being yelled at in the New Orleans locker room, sorry.
I left Bex speechless.
All right, cool. This will move us on to the Offensive Lineman of the Year award. Our nominees are Bruce Buckley of the Arizona Outlaws, Give Us a Fair Rub of the New Orleans second line, Laszlo 42 of the Yellowknife Wraiths, and Brave Ulysses of the New Orleans second line.
That's interesting because I have 5 O-line here with stats to give out.
So generally that means that person did not receive any votes.
Call them out.
Well, this is awkward.
Get 'em.
I'm so sorry, but I'll start with your stats first. Then Byron Doles had 45 pancakes and didn't allow a single sack. Fair rub to you. And then Bruce Buckley had 63 pancakes and only 1 sack allowed. Give Us a Fair Rub had 65 pancakes and 1 sack allowed. Laszlo 42 had 85 pancakes and no sacks allowed. And Brave Ulysses had 52 pancakes with no sacks allowed. I think it's going to go to Laszlo.
It's probably going to Laszlo, but Steg's pancake facts are back. That is 310 total pancakes for my pancake fans for 103 and a third total short stack of pancakes. Once again, all 150 million is on the table. If by midnight tonight Central Time you send me a picture of you at IHOP having finished all 103 short stacks.
Yeah, it has to be Laz here.
It's 100% Laszlo.
The only one that makes sense.
How many short stacks is that if we combine the DSFL and NSFL? It's like close to 200.
So that's 273 plus 310 pancakes for 583 total pancakes, which is 194.3 short stacks.
Jeez.
A lot of short stacks. Next community event should be all of us eating pancakes.
I'm gonna go get pancakes once this is done, though. I'm not gonna eat like 190, but I'll send you a picture of eating some at IHOP.
I'm more of a waffle girl anyway. So, all right, let's find out.
Do they have Waffle Houses where you are?
Nope, I'm too far north. Yeah, this is going to Laz. 44 points received for him, 35 for Rob. It's pretty clearly like how people voted basically all the way down. But yeah, clear winner here in Mr. 42. Congratulations.
Could you imagine? Imagine though if he had gotten 42 points. Oh, it would have been just.
Would have been amazing. All right, this will bring us to tight end of the year. Our nominees are Avon Bloxdale Jr. of the Philadelphia Liberty, Leon McDavid of the San Jose SaberCats, Jeffrey Phillips of the Orange County Otters, Austin McCormick of the New Orleans second line, and Heath Evans of the Arizona Outlaws.
So Avon Bloxdale Jr. had 46 receptions for 382 yards and 3 touchdowns with 21 pancakes. Leon McDavid had 49 receptions for 405 yards and a touchdown with 27 pancakes. Jeffrey Phillips had 66 receptions for 822 yards and 3 touchdowns with 12 pancakes. Had 68 receptions, 906 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 21 pancakes. And Heath Evans had 62 receptions for 556 yards and 2 touchdowns with 34 pancakes. I got to give a shout out to Bloxdale because that's Slim. That's it's my boy over there. Little award there, but I think it's McCormick.
Yes.
Just so much more than everyone else.
It's probably McCormick, but I think Phillips could give him a run.
I Homer to the end on this one. Austin McCormick, absolutely. And indeed, Austin McCormick is tight end of the year, receiving 41 points. Nearest one was 23 for Mr. Phillips.
Does Stegs Stacks Facts take in the pancakes from tight end position or no?
I have not done that math right now, and due to various technical difficulties with Steg's brain, we're not doing those stats right.
This is fair. All right, this will go to wide receiver of the year. Our nominees are DeAndre Thomas Fox of San Jose SaberCats, Rod Tidwell of the Austin Copperheads, Sean O'Leary of the Chicago Butchers, Saba Donut of the Arizona Outlaws, and Nate Swift of the Yellowknife Wraiths.
All right, so DeAndre Thomas Fox had 71 receptions for 1,022 yards and 11 touchdowns. Rod Tidwell, 57 receptions for 1,036 yards and 11 touchdowns. Sean O'Leary had 67 receptions for 1,017 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saba Donut had 7 receptions for 1,191 yards and 5 touchdowns. And Nate Swift had 67 receptions for 1,065 yards and 11 touchdowns. I think the award goes to Swift, and Swift is a great guy. But I do want to give a shout out to Sean O'Leary. Sean O'Leary put up such impressive numbers, and for quarter of the year was doing that with an IAQB. So I shout out to Sean O'Leary.
I got to go with my boy Tidwell here. Monster year. Pat myself on the back. Me and Moody schemed him open in like half the games, and he had a monster year.
Tidwell did have the most yards per reception with 18.2.
Yeah, Tidwell had a disgusting year and was especially valuable in that last run where Austin went 7-0 to make the playoffs. If he hadn't been as incredible as he was, we wouldn't have made it. And so, it's homerism, but Tidwell all the way.
Tidwell, or I don't know. I feel like I like Swift here a little bit. I have feelings. But also it's Big Red, and who doesn't want Big Red to win? Ooh, it's going to go to Rod Tidwell. This one is another tie. Tidwell and Nate Swift both receiving 33 points. But Rod Tidwell had more first place votes, and therefore is your winner.
I picked it right for once.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is my greatest honor.
Congratulations, SD. I don't think you watch these streams, but if you are or do in the future, hi, I love you. Congratulations. This brings us to running back of the year. Our nominees are Matthias Hanyadi of the Yellowknife Wraiths, Ryan Leaf Jr. of the Austin Copperheads, Forrest Gump of the New Orleans second line, Mako Mendonca of the Austin Copperheads, and Akira Skyline of the Yellowknife Wraiths. Look at that cute little pattern.
It's like a palindrome of pictures.
It's so good. It makes me very happy.
That's an SAT vocab word for the night. Palindrome.
SAT vocab. Going to the stats, we got Hanyadi had 1,280 yards on the ground with 7 touchdowns and 440 receiving yards for 4 touchdowns. Ryan Leaf Jr. 650 rushing yards with 7 touchdowns and 714 receiving yards for 5 touchdowns. Forrest Gump had 1,117 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, and 367 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Ko Mendonca had 885 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns, and 434 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. And Akira Skyline, 111 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns, and 358 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. I think this goes to Hanyadi, led in rushing yards, and I believe was tied for second on this list in touchdowns, but also got it done through the air with over 400 receiving yards.
I want to respond real quick to a comment here. I think this is Oles. Gum should win just for being the only one not sharing a team. Heck off. I'm there too. I technically received a nomination. I didn't get any votes, but I technically received a nomination. So
Ricky's a scrub.
Thanks.
Yeah, you know I love you, Bex.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's someday Forrest will die, and I will have my one good season.
Just plot his murder.
Yes, it'll be fine. I think this is Hanyadi's.
Please no, Ryan Lee from Mako Mendoka. Awesome dominance. Give it to both of them.
Split. If we could put running back by committee like duos up for nominations, I mean GNT takes it every year. So
The fact that Hanyadi had such a great year with Skyline in the backfield too is a testament, though.
it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And it is going to Matthias Hanyadi. Congratulations, Rampage. Winning it with 47 points received. Next closest was 20 for Forrest Gump. Let's move us on to quarterback of the year. Our nominations are Easton Cole of the Austin Copperheads, Dan Wright of the San Jose SaberCats, Cooter Bigsby of the Illinois Wraiths, Wolfie McDummy of the Colorado Yeti, and Franklin Armstrong of the Orange County Otters.
All right, so Easton Cole had shy of 3,300 yards and 26 touchdowns, 203 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns tacked on. Dan Wright had 2,669 yards with 21 touchdowns. Cooter Bigsby had 1,213 yards with 29 touchdowns. Dummy had 1,777 yards and 16 touchdowns with 634 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Franklin Armstrong had 2,922 yards and 17 touchdowns and 720 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. I think for QB of the year, personally, I would go for Easton Cole. I think he did exactly what a QB should do, and that's put up very impressive passing yards. He also led in he also had 90.7 QBR on here, which is actually not the highest. The highest goes to Dan Wright with 95.2, but I think it's Cole.
Okay, so I think Bigsby wins this, but I think it should be Cole. And I meant to write an article about why Easton Cole should be quarterback of the year and MVP. And I'm a busy person, and so I didn't get around to it. But hopefully the voters broke it down. And when you look at what would it have been like week 7 and on, when Austin went on that like ridiculous 7-game winning streak to make the playoffs, Cole was the best quarterback in the league by like a gigantic margin. And I think awards are half stats and half narrative. And I think that narrative, and including the amazing run against Orange County to beat them on their home field, are the type of things that like make award winners. But I fully expect Bigsby to win this one.
Well, let's find out. Indeed, going to Cooter Bigsby. 42 points received. Easton Cole receiving 32 points. Seeing a lot of Yellowknife here. Very exciting. That'll move us on to Offensive Breakout Player of the Year. Our nominees are Future Trunks of the Orange County Otters, not only with a breakout year, but also a new name. Exciting for him. Also looking at Rando Cardrizian for the San Jose SaberCats, Dan Wright for the San Jose SaberCats, DeAndre Thomas Fox for the San Jose SaberCats, and Willie B. Hardigan for the Illinois Wraiths. The chances of this going to San Jose is up there. They had a phenomenal year, so very exciting to see.
Some might say they had a breakout year.
They did. Wow, who would have ever put those words together? No, but very exciting to see all of them. Talk to me about these performances this year.
All right, so we're going to look back to last year and compare it to this year because that's what the breakout does. So picture Trunks had 29 receptions for 282 yards and a touchdown last year, and then this year had 42 receptions for 542 yards and 6 touchdowns. No Cardrician had last year 648 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then this year had 936 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Wright had 2,715 yards and 10 touchdowns last year with a QBR of 76.8. This year, he was 221 for 361, 2,669 yards, and 21 touchdowns with a QBR of 95.2. Andre Thomas Fox last year had 757 yards on 57 receptions and 3 touchdowns. And then this year had 71 receptions, 1,022 yards and 11 touchdowns. And Willie B. Hardigan had 39 receptions last year with 346 yards and a touchdown. This year had 53 receptions, 684 yards and 7 touchdowns. My vote goes to Dan Wright. These guys, he helped make look really good too, but also helped him look good. And I think that jump from 76 to 95 in QBR is just huge.
Yeah, I've got no clue who wins this. There are a lot of factors when you're voting for a breakout award player. Because like Wright had an incredible year, and that shouldn't be like downgraded or devalued. But in the same way, like Wright's retiring, and like I conceptually have this like problem in my head with it being a breakout player who's also retiring. And so there's just a lot of factors that go into this. I'll be interested to see how the voters weigh it.
I mean, to think for me personally, thinking about especially seeing San Jose so healthily represented here, Dan Wright is kind of the centerpiece for that. His success leads to the other successes we're seeing. So I feel like that's a kind of counterpoint to, well, yeah, he's retiring, yes, but also he facilitated.
Oh, totally. I'll just be interested to see how they all weigh it.
Indeed. All right, let's find out. And it's going to DTF. 39 points received here, with Dan Wright coming in second with 22 points received here. So, yeah, congratulations, DTF, Breakout Player of the Year on the offensive side of the ball. We'll move on to Defensive Breakout Player of the Year. Our nominees are Maurice Vertanen of the Yellowknife Wraiths, Prince Vegeta of the Orange County Otters, David Rector of the New Orleans Second Line, Giannis Krustis of the Yellowknife Wraiths, and Mason Blaylock of the New Orleans Second Line. There was another opportunity to do the little palindrome thing, and they didn't do it, and now I'm disappointed.
Maurice Vertanen had 83 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 13 sacks, and 7 passes deflected last year. This year, having 96 tackles, 1 for loss, a fumble recovery, and 12 sacks. Last year, Prince had 93 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a forced fumble, 3 sacks, and 6 passes deflected. This year, he had 71 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions with 6 passes deflected. Rector last year had 34 tackles and 15 passes deflected. This year had 56 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 17 passes deflected. That's Krustis had 50 tackles and 10 sacks last year, and then this year had 54 tackles, 2 for loss, 13 sacks, and a pass breakup. And then Mason Blaylock had last year 64 tackles, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 4 sacks, and interceptions, and 2 passes deflected. This year had 76 tackles, 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, and a defensive touchdown. For my choice, I think I'm going to have to go with Blaylock on this one. I think just a vibe. I think it's Blaylock.
Just a quality human being, you know?
I think this is Rector. He added 2 more passes defended, but he also added 5 interceptions.
You can't.
The jump from 0 interceptions to 5 interceptions as a 2-time DSFL player who has 1 interception in seasons is huge.
Yeah, I think I lean Rector here as well, personally. Awesome. But let's find out.
Yeah.
Indeed, going to David Rector. 38 points received for him, 23 for Blaylock in second. So, New Orleans defense putting in the work this year. Congratulations, Rector.
So for the past couple where we've had disagreements, if you're still if whoever's watching this, if you hear me call your name and pick you, you're most likely going to get second because I keep getting the guy in second. So you don't want me to talk about you at all.
Good thing you talk about all the players.
Someone needs to do a media article on how accurate we all were with our pre-reveal picks. Get that free money.
That's easy money. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Our nominees are Jeffrey Phillips for the Orange County Otters, Baby Yoda for the Arizona Outlaws, Bruce Buckley for the Arizona Outlaws, Akira Skyline for the Yellowknife Wraiths, and Dax Frost for the Sarasota Sailfish.
Right. So Jeffrey Phillips at the tight end position had 66 receptions for 822 yards and 3 touchdowns and 12 pancakes. Baby Yoda had at the running back position 241 attempts for 907 yards and 7 touchdowns and 54 receptions for 320 receiving yards. Bruce Buckley, fair rub right here, O-line from Arizona, had 63 pancakes and only 1 sack allowed. Kira Skyline had 212 attempts at the running back position, 911 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns, and 34 receptions for 358 yards and a receiving touchdown. And Dax Frost had 287 attempts at the running back position, 1,097 yards and 6 touchdowns, and 32 receptions for 233 yards and a touchdown. This one's tough because I want to lead to Dax Frost, right? Over 1,000 yards in their first season and 6 touchdowns. Akira Skyline also had to go up in like a running back by committee kind of a thing and still put up 900 yards. So I think it's between those two. I can't pick, so I'm gonna go with Frost.
I'm gonna take Skyline, which is an interesting one. We had a huge debate about this in the awards committee because a lot of Skyline's production, like the last, but Skyline still had a monster year. And had a monster year behind a guy who had one of the best seasons a running back's had in ages in Hanyadi. And that alone is just ridiculously impressive. Plus, his team was extremely good this year. They looked like an ultimate favorite heading into the playoffs. So,
yeah, I think I lean Skyline a little bit too, but that might be personal bias because I love Skyline as one of my HO interns. So
Frost and I love speed, so I'm going with Frost.
Very fair.
The
panel is split, and we're going to find out it is indeed Akira Skyline with 45. This wasn't even close. 45 vote points for Skyline. Dax with only 12 points.
Yeah, Soup, we're cursed.
Really surprised on that one. Wow.
The voters love Skyline.
The Soup curse.
Honestly.
That was like a hard hit for the Soup curse.
Love the Skyline render. I watched that movie the other day. It's incredible. It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
I know. I saw that movie in theaters, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is definitely an Oscar nominee," and it didn't even make the Oscars. Uncut Gems, for those of you that don't know, phenomenal movie.
That's only because they don't think Sandler can be like a serious actor, but he totally proved him wrong.
All right.
Phenomenal.
Back to the point.
Dog game.
On to Defensive Rookie of the Year, because I don't want to be here all night. Perfect. Our nominees are Matt Hull for the Baltimore Hawks, Zamir Kayla for the Arizona Outlaws, Ragnar Rock for the Sarasota Sailfish, Rodicus Scott for the Colorado Yeti, and Ugarth the Dissector for New Orleans Second Line.
Right. So Matt Hull at the defensive end position had 42 tackles, 20 of them for loss and 3 sacks. Zamir Keela at the cornerback position had 85 tackles, 2 of those for loss, 4 interceptions, 12 passes deflected, and 2 touchdowns. Ragnar Rock at the safety position had 98 tackles, 3 of them for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery with a sack and 2 interceptions and 8 passes deflected. Rodicus Scott had 87 tackles, 2 of them for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 11 passes deflected, and a touchdown. And Ugarth the Dissector had 76 tackles at the linebacker position, 4 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, 9 sacks, an interception, and 16 passes deflected. I'm going to let you guys pick first. I'll pick last so that you don't feel that my curse is going to change the way that you decide.
You got this, Bags. Let's hear it. No pressure.
Here's the thing to know about Bex as a human being is I suck when it comes to gauging anything on defense.
You have a NOLA player right
I
here.
know. That's what I'm about to go with that. I'm explaining though, in case the answer is wrong. I don't know defense super well, and so when asked to pick a defensive player on one of these lists, I'm gonna go for the NOLA player if I can. So my darling rookie boy, Ugarth, has my vote here.
Okay, I'm gonna make Soup have to pick Zamir, so I'm gonna take Rodicus.
Okay.
I think that he had a comparable year to Zamir. I think Colorado had great success as a team this year, and that he was a major part of that in that Colorado secondary. They had a lot of really low-scoring games from their opponents, and he was part of that. And so, as we talked about with breakout of the year, there's a lot of factors you weigh. One of the things I look at in some of these awards is, how did your team do and what role did you play in it as a rookie? And Roddick played a huge part as a rookie in the Colorado secondary, and so I'll take him.
Yeah, and as Soup knows, Zamir had 2 touchdowns, so I'm going to go with Ugarth because I'm a homer.
It's funny that you say that you're gonna make me pick Zamir as if I'm like forced to do that when there's still other guys up here. I do want to talk about some of the other guys. Ragnar has probably one of the better stat lines I see on here. Very comparable to almost everyone else on here. Same amount of forced fumbles as Ugarth, more tackles than everybody. But I am going to go with Zamir. I think those 2 defensive touchdowns are huge, especially as a defensive rookie. I just feel leaning towards Zamir is probably the better option.
Okay. Did we trick the curse? Let's find out.
Yes!
I'm actually not surprised to see this because Ugarth, I've heard Ugarth was put up there for a lot of positions and that is very well loved by everyone in the community. So this makes sense. I'm surprised to see Ragnar last though.
I know personally because he is retired, I feel slightly less inclined to vote for the early retirees.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know
he had
other
an
people
incredible
felt that
year.
way, but that's
He had,
my own
he
personal bias.
he had an incredible year, but when voting for Rookie of the Year, it just feels bad to give like an award that's meant to like glorify a rookie to someone who like it isn't around to enjoy it anymore.
Yeah. Yep. But congratulations to my boy Ugarth. More NOLA winners on the defensive side. Loving it. That'll bring us to Offensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees are Rando Cardrosian for Week 2, San Jose Sabercats, Franklin Armstrong Week 7 for the Orange County Otters, Akira Skyline for Week 13, Yellowknife Wraiths, Easton Cole Week 10 for the Austin Copperheads, and JQ Week 2, for the Arizona Outlaws.
So going off these stats, Rando in week 2 against Arizona had 148 yards and 3 touchdowns and 25 attempts. Franklin Armstrong in week 7 going up against Colorado had 326 yards and 3 touchdowns with 7 rushing attempts, 102 yards and another rushing touchdown. Akira Skyline in week 13 going up against Baltimore had 26 attempts for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns and 6 receptions for 98 yards and a touchdown. Easton Cole in week 10 versus Honolulu had 405 yards and 4 touchdowns with a 146.2 QBR. And JQ in week 2 against San Jose had 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, and had 5 rushing attempts for 35 yards.
I'm gonna go with my boy Easton Cole. I'm gonna get this in before anybody can take him.
Dang.
That man torched Honolulu.
I have a bias against quarterbacks, so I'm going to go with Skyline.
All right. I really wanted to take Cole, 405 yards and 146. That's good. I'm gonna go with Franklin Armstrong. Total touchdowns, 3 in the air and 1 on the ground, and over 100 yards rushing from the QB position. I think Armstrong got this locked up.
Okay, we find out. It will be Easton Cole. Makes sense. 36 points received. Next closest with 26 points for Skyline. I love the render. I love.
Nice.
Cool. Congratulations. This will bring us to Defensive Performance of the Year. Our nominees are Hamish McAndrew, Week 7 for the Chicago Butchers, David Rector, Week 6 for New Orleans Second Line, Wayne Howenow, Week 12 for the Philadelphia Liberty, Jamie Nakia, Week 1 for the Sarasota Sailfish, and Ugarth the Dissector, Week 3 for the New Orleans Second Line.
All right. Hamish McAndrew in week 7 for Chicago played Honolulu, had 5 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 3 passes deflected. David Rector in week 6 was going up against Sarasota, had 5 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 6 pass deflections. Wayne Howenow in week 12 was going up against Sarasota, had 9 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and 2 passes deflected. Jamie and Kai, week 1, started off the season against Baltimore, had 9 tackles, a pass deflection, an interception, and a defensive touchdown. And then finally, the defensive rookie of the year, Dissector, had against Arizona in week 3, 12 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. What are you guys thinking on picks here?
I'll take Rector. I like Hamish. He's a former Bird Dog. Amazing guy. That Elo series on NVIDIA is a great weekly piece. But Rector just had the same stats but better.
Yeah, I'll take Enola Boy. I don't care which one you want to put me on. I'll take Enola Boy.
All right, I'm gonna take Howenow, Philly boy. Sacks really got back there at the linebacker position and a forced fumble. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to Kia though with that defensive touchdown with Sarasota. So, but I'm sticking with Howenow. Ring the bell.
All right, let's find out. It is David Rector, Week 6, receiving 38 points. Next closest was Howenow with 22 points received. Very good. Congratulations, Rector. You're killing it. This will bring us to General Managers of the Year. Got some wonderful ones up here. Laser and Revolution 5 of the Orange County Otters, CK Royal and Radom of the San Jose Sabercats, Frostbite and Rain Delay of the Sarasota Sailfish, Frick and Wolker of the Colorado Yeti, and Muford and Bailey of the Chicago Butchers, receiving nominations. Obviously, all wonderful. I think it's hard to say no to the Yeti here, personally, considering that they've finally, after all of these years, managed to take home an Ultimus.
I'm gonna say no to the Yeti. That's right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with Sarasota, just because they had more to do this year. They had their own draft through the expansion draft. I know each GM had to choose who they were going to select and have to make those decisions, but I think Sarasota had to rebuild an entire team and to do as well as they did and make the playoffs their first year is just incredible. Nothing wrong with the Colorado Yeti. Love you, Yeti. You guys are great, and congrats on the big win. But I'm gonna go with Frostbite and Rain Delay.
I'll take the Yeti in this situation as well. I'll go with Bex. They finally won an Ultimus. To what probably were upset wins on the testing front, the area that I'm an expert in. At the end of the year to make and win the Ultimus. Just had a great year all around. I know they made or had Wolfie change his archetype at the beginning of the year, earlier than Cole did with Austin, but similar changes and saw similar results this year. And so I just think that like those type of decisions are the ones that make good GMs and separate good from bad. I would be remiss to not acknowledge the sailfish here, or the marlin sailfish things. But I at the end of the day, as great as making the playoffs is, the Yeti made the tough decisions to win Ultimus without sacrificing potential future capital.
I also want to shout out our Chicago Butcher GMs, just because I know that they came into Chicago to kind of put in the hard work to fix things and improve things there, and they've absolutely done that. They had 17 updates this last week, which is very exciting for them, and have made huge strides. And so even though they don't have my vote this year quite yet, I want to recognize that their hard work has absolutely been paying off, and the love and care that they are bringing to the city of Chicago is definitely recognized.
Yeah, well,
I actually also want to give a shout out to Chicago as well from my time as a Portland GM. They traded away their QB, and there was a lot of talk of them calling up our current QB, and so I reached out to them, and they said, "No, we don't want to mess you guys up throughout the year. We'll get through this, and we'll call them up at the end of the season." So they were really good about that. Really good communication. I do have a rivalry with one of them, with one of my players. So shout out to you. You know who you are. But yeah, still going with Arizona.
Very good.
I guess I have to shout out Chicago too. Bailey sucks.
yeah. Well, you can't forget the Yeti.
Indeed. And it is going to the Yeti, receiving 5 votes. Sarasota close behind, though, with 4. Doing very well. But congratulations to Frick and Woker, both on the Ultimus win and, of course, your GM of the Year status.
Yeah, Wolger's my best friend, so
He's my best friend, too. I know him in real life. Perfect. This will bring us to Offensive Player of the Year. Your nominees are Franklin Armstrong of the Orange County Otters, Matthias Hanyati of the Yellowknife Wraiths, Easton Cole of the Austin Copperheads, and Cooter Bigsby of the Yellowknife Wraiths.
All right. So Franklin Armstrong had 1,922 passing yards and 17 touchdowns with a QBR of 86.7 and 106 attempts on the ground with 720 yards and 6 touchdowns. Matthias Hanyati had 180 yards on the ground with 7 touchdowns and 41 receptions for 440 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. Easton Cole had 3,293 yards and 26 touchdowns, a QBR of 90.7 and 27 attempts and 203 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And Cooter Bigsby, 3,213 yards, 29 touchdowns, 93.6 QBR. I'm going to go out there and steal it before the rest of you can. I'm going to go with Armstrong. I think Armstrong was a great offensive player of the year. So that's who I'm selecting.
Bex, you up next?
I'm abstaining from this one.
Oh, that's a cop out. How are the people ever going to rank us at the end of this? Who is the best host?
It's okay. I'll lose points. Just count it as a wrong one. I'm okay with that.
That's fine. I think that it should be Cole, but I also want Cole to win MVP. I think that Cole probably doesn't win MVP if he didn't win Quarterback of the Year, which means this is probably between Bigsby and Hanyati to me. And I'll take Hanyati here. Thinking that whoever doesn't win it here wins the MVP. And the MVP is traditionally a quarterback award, and so I'll take Hanyati.
I'd like to change my vote. I completely skipped over the fact that Offensive Player of the Year does not win MVP, so I'm actually switch to Bigsby, because I think Armstrong's going to get MVP. So with Bigsby.
Well, I don't know anything about anything, so I'm going to go with Hanyati.
Hey, and it is going to Hanyati, receiving 28 points.
And it's a
A tie, but it's
tie with
first place.
Yep, but Hanyati had most first places, so he is our winner here. Both Yellowknife, though.
And I guess Forrest Gump was in this, too.
Ooh.
But
Okay, yeah, so I had it. I have his stats right here. I didn't want to say anything in case he had 0 votes because I felt bad the last time I did that. But he had 6 votes, so now I can talk about him. So Forrest Gump had 1,117 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, and 36 receptions for 367 receiving yards and 3 receiving touchdowns. Shout out to you, Gump. Sorry about that.
He'll survive. Perfect. That'll bring us to Defensive Player of the Year. Our nominees are AJ Latimer for the Orange County Otters, Mo Berry for Colorado Yeti, Mervyn Leonard for the Yellowknife Wraiths, Wayne Howgenow for the Philadelphia Liberty, and Ugarth the Dissector for New Orleans Second Line.
Okay, so stats-wise, AJ Latimer had 48 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 24 pass deflections. Mo VP had 113 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 11 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 14 pass deflections. Mervyn Leonard had 61 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 5 interceptions, 17 pass deflections, and 1 touchdown. Wayne Howenow had 84 tackles, 2 for loss, 3 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, 9 sacks, 1 interceptions, 16 pass deflections and a touchdown. And Ugarth had 76 tackles, 4 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, 9 sacks, interception, and 16 pass deflections.
Nice.
I'll take Mo Berry. Incredible year at the linebacker spot. Again, just crazy team success. He's the captain of that Yeti defense. The same reason that I voted for Colorado defenders throughout this entire presentation is because of how great that defense was. They held a lot of teams to some low-scoring outcomes, and came up clutch when they needed to. And Berry's kind of led the whole charge.
So I feel like I want to pick Mo Berry too, but I feel like we have to pick different, or else it's just kind of a cop out. So I'm gonna go with now and now because Philadelphia. The reason I go with Berry on this one though is not only because of everything that Steg said, but also there are 3 other linebackers up for this, and Mo Berry already beat them for backer of the year. So I think he comes in and beats him again in defensive player of the year. But wow, I am just butchering Wayne's name. I apologize. Now, so it's spelled wrong on the sheet, but he had a great year on our defense. I still think Edmonds should have also been up for this award. Everyone here did great, but I think Edmonds should be here with what he did in the tackle department at linebacker.
Nola is forever. And Mo Berry wins.
Nola is 5th place.
Yeah. Mo Berry comes in with 43 votes, blowing out the competition. And congrats to Mo Berry for winning Defensive Player of the Year.
Beck, since I didn't hear you make a choice, I'm going to assume that you were just going to go with the NOLA guy. So for whoever's doing that article on how wrong we are, just put a nice little L next to Bex's name on that one.
Perfect. Well, I don't know if Bex is here, so I'm going to take over and go on with the most dedicated member. We have 4 wonderful nominees. The first one is Bex, and then Manic Mav 36, then Cola Bear, and then Lemon, all who are associated with the Sim team in some way. Shout out to my boys on the Sim team.
Yeah, I accidentally muted myself, which is why I didn't. Yep.
Perfect.
I'm really good at this. Manic is such a dedicated person. He is our simmer at the NSFL level. Absolutely amazing dude. Former HO, current member of the appeals team. Puts in the hard work for the league. Absolutely stellar. Cola Bear has completely kind of reinvented how we approach the stream at the NSFL level. He was with the DSFL last year as their streamer. Now at the NSFL, he's the one who you hear speaking to you on streams now. He's got the fancy graphics and stuff on there. Absolutely amazing dude. And then, of course, Lemon, who is our DSFL streamer. He's also an updater. He is wonderful. He's kind of part of our dev team as we work to make some exciting changes in the league. He's also the one who pioneered the changes for the DC collection methods that we're using now as a league. Absolutely stellar dude. I'm very excited to have him as a member of our league. All 3 fantastic people.
Yeah, and so Bex doesn't have to talk about herself. Bex is the...
Bex, why should you win this award?
I don't think I should win this award.
Dang,
No,
I'm gonna
I
have
don't
to.
think I should win.
Yeah, I think Bex is very dedicated, but she doesn't put in the work. She organizes all the work, and it's great. And we couldn't function without her. We love Bex, but everyone else really fulfills the work.
Who you taking, Soup? Bex is on the call right now. Who you taking?
I'm definitely not taking Bex. I'm going to agree with Bex there. I'm going to go with Cola Bear. I think what he's done with the graphics and the stream is huge. Lemon has really helped me learn how to use the sim a little bit and how to actually turn in what we had to do as GMs. Bex is great, and I know Bex can hear me talking right now, and she can respond right now. I'm gonna agree with Bex. I don't think she deserves the award over some of these other guys,
Correct.
other people, but I'm gonna go with Cola Bear.
I personally voted for Lemon. That's where my vote went this year, just because I've seen the work that he's put in, and I think that both what he has done this past year and what he has helped plan to do for future is like so key to our league, and Yeah, I love Lemon.
Yeah,
I would love to
Lemon.
see him win.
I spend a lot of time with Lemon, and he has like this very good vision of what the league should do to evolve and develop. And I would vote for him, but he tortures me every other day.
He does. Do you want to tell him? It's the end of the stream. No one cares. Tell him how he tortures you.
Oh, well, every week we sim for the DSFL, right? And I like to know how Tijuana did. So we have to, so he forces me to watch it instead of just hitting the show score button, like he does with every other team. And it's hell. Yeah. But I'm going to go with Bex, I guess. So,
Yeah,
Wow.
so I'll take Bex. Bex, you're wonderful. I will need you at some point. This is total flattery. Please. In
All
reality,
right.
in reality, I do think this is Bex's. And I think it's Bex's for a couple key reasons. Number one, anybody who's a DSFL GM right now knows that I am probably the most inconvenient human in the league. I am vocal, loud, annoying, and condescending. And Bex is the person that takes the brunt of that. And she takes the brunt of it without firing back at me. And Bex and I get along well. Like, I apologize. We have a great relationship. But the fact that Bex comes into these situations in these like hot, important times, like the DSFL resim, and manages to coordinate all of us, come to a solution, and execute that solution is the sign of a good leader. And I vehemently disagree with the comment made previously that Bex is the one that organizes all this. But that doesn't mean that she's the most dedicated. I think that Lemon, Colabert, and Manic are great people, and I have good relationships with all of them. Lemon works with me and Kyle on a literal daily basis. We made triple the waiver claims of anybody this year. We had to cut people like twice a day, and Lemon walked us through all that. But none of this is possible without Bex. The DSFL itself, like the experience that I can personally talk from, would not have happened if it hadn't been for Bex and the leadership she had, and the way that she has come in and come up with good ideas along with the rest of the team, but has coordinated this team to come up with great ideas about fixing some of the problems that people recognized at the beginning of the season and effectively coordinate the implementation of those. We would be nowhere near where we are today. And so I think this is 100% Bex's.
Damn, you're gonna make me cry. Jesus.
Yeah,
I
we love
feel
Bex.
bad.
Love
feel
Bex.
bad. Jeez, I feel like Bex is gonna make me step down as GM now. Now that I said that.
Hey, I mean,
So
everyone on this list really deserves this award, but
And
unfortunately,
plenty of people not named here too. There's
Yeah.
so
so hard to
wonderful,
choose.
dedicated
Yeah.
members of our community.
yeah.
For example, if you do work in the league, you should be recognized somehow. The same great things I said about Bex. Like,
Mhm.
Adam deals with me at 3 a.m. my time, ranting with him. And so, just in general, I wish there was a catch-all term for saying like the head office this year has been great, because
Yeah.
anybody who can put up with all of these different personalities and bring us all together and come up with effective solutions that are still growing the league and still guiding us forward deserve recognition.
Just a peek behind the curtain, I believe that there were originally like 8 or 9 nominations for this award, and we could only fit 4 to 5 on the slideshow, and so we took the ones who had multiple nominations to kind of do a little runoff.
No, sorry. I know that when I was just a player at the beginning of my career here, like back in November when I first joined the league, I saw everything from the player standpoint of, all right, who put up the best yards and all that. And then now that I've been here for a while, seeing all these people, whether it's EMs such as myself or people on the PT team or people that you see right there on your screen right now, there's a lot of people that go behind the scenes to help us be able to go forward and put the content that we put out there, to be able to have this league as a thing. So big shout out to just anyone who has a part of that, whether it's all the way from the top with Bex as a commissioner, all the way down to being a part of your team's Twitter team or helping with recruitment. None of this could be possible without any of you guys. So big shout out to all of y'all.
Every single job holder, every single member of this community is like such an integral part. Like we are what we are because of every single person willing to put in time, willing to give attention. And so yeah, we should stop babbling and just move on. So we can
Let's
get
see
to-
who got it. Yay, Bex. Good job.
it's-
I'm proud of
yeah.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, close race though. Lemon and Cola both receiving 4, and Manic receiving 2 as well. Thank you so much for the nomination and for the award. I am honored. My kind of stance on it is I don't want to win MDM. I want to help inspire other people to be dedicated and win it. So thank you for this. Don't nominate me in future years. Help me recognize all the other wonderful people who are members of this league.
Let's nominate Adam next year because he puts up with me just as much. Love you, Adam.
Indeed. All right, our final award here, most valuable player at the NSFL level. Your nominations are Franklin Armstrong for the Orange County Otters, Easton Cole for the Austin Copperheads, Matthias Hanyati for the Yellowknife Wraiths, Cooter Bigsby for the Yellowknife Wraiths, and Mo Berry for the Colorado Yeti.
All right, so we've gone through the stats already because these guys have been up for other awards themselves. So we're just going to do a quick little pick 'em. I'm going Franklin Armstrong. I think he wins it back to back to back to back to back to back. I think he goes home with his 37th MVP award right here. And yeah, I'm going Armstrong.
That is a hot take. This man believes the guy who didn't win quarterback of the year wins most valuable player. And I will reap the benefits of this love you soup, but not great pick, and take Cooter Bigsby to secure my title as the most accurate award stream commentator host picker guy.
Here's how I see it. Cooter Bigsby, yes, was the better QB. I think Franklin Armstrong did more as a player than Cooter Bigsby did. I think Cooter Bigsby had a lot of guys around him. I mean, you see Matthias is up here too, so that's 2 big guys in Yellowknife to help lead that team. So that's why I chose Armstrong. I think Armstrong had the passing numbers and the rushing numbers to go back it up. Because you combine those together, it's already more than what Bigby had. So that's why I made my pick.
I have a bias against quarterbacks. So, Hanyati or Berry, please. I know neither of them can, but in a world where they could, that would be my want.
Commissioners banning quarterbacks. It just got leaked.
I don't have
run
that
for
power.
seed.
Well, I'd have to select Nola for this award.
And it's going to Cooter
Wow.
Bigsby. 35 points received. Second with 27 in Eastern Cole.
Well,
Very surprised that Armstrong's down there at last. But you know what? That's just the soup curse right there.
Yeah.
I will not be back here for season 20. I'll just be picking everyone that loses, I guess. I think I got one right pick, and it was the one that we all agreed was the same guy. But yeah, I'll take my award for least accurate.
Soup, you better be back next season. This has been fun.
what a great
Yes, indeed.
season for everyone.
This has easily been the most entertaining award show we've had.
Thank you, everyone who has stayed with us, the 42 of you that are still here. Congratulations to all of our winners. Congratulations to every single one of them, as well as our reigning champs in the Colorado Yeti and the... Who won the Ultimate?
Tijuana, thank you very much.
This is why we have a DSFL head office now.
Yes, indeed.
Riot.
Yes, thank you all for watching. For those of you who are celebrating, happy Pride Month. For those of you who are involved in other stuff, please stay safe. Please use personal protection equipment and wash your hands. If you are interested in more league content, we have our NSFL draft coming up on Friday. We have our Prospect Bowl on Monday. We also will have our Pro Bowl stream that will either be Tuesday or Thursday of next week. We're still setting the date on that one. As well as getting ready for preseason games and our DSFL draft on Wednesday and Friday, respectively, next week. So we look forward to seeing you in the audience again for one of those. And with that, we will say thank you and good night.
Yeah. So Frenny, make Bex give her